Hi guys, Mook Duke here, and today we're leaving melee games on the back burner and heading topside to my latest obsession, Ark Raiders. Ark is filled with drones, moans, and avian clones. It's a game that is nothing short of cinema. It's loud, it's flashy, it's beautiful, and underneath the incredible aesthetics, there's a slow, methodical extraction game begging you to play just one more round. After a few days with the server slam, I've got thoughts. But in short, it's the first game since PUBG that reignited the spark I felt when multiplayer games felt brand new. Oh! The best part? There was speculation this stress test only showed less than 10% of the full game, which means we have so much more to see, including the stuff I got to experience in the tech test months ago. Before we dive in, a quick note on performance. The game itself ran really smoothly, but when I sat down to edit this video, I realized my recordings, well, they didn't. I've cleaned them up as best I could, but there might be the occasional stutter here and there, so apologies in advance. Anyway, what actually is Ark Raiders? Ark Raiders is a third-person extraction shooter set in a retro-futuristic Earth riddled by a variety of deadly mechs known as Arks. You ascend into the PvEVP Simon Stalenhag-esque world of Topside, fighting for survival against machines and players, trying to collect all the gear you need and extract back to the safe haven of Speranza before somebody takes you out. I haven't played Tarkov, but from what I've seen, it definitely has some of its DNA, just through a much more thought-out 70s style sci-fi lens. This game has a clear identity, cinematic, slow-paced, and weirdly addicting. I'm going to start my thoughts by talking about combat. Trigger-happy gamers may not like this, but Ark is slower and more deliberate than most shooters I've played. The shield augments make for a slightly longer time to kill, allowing fights to rely more on strategy than reflexes.
Bro, let's be friends, man.
When encountering another player, you feel rewarded for your awareness rather than punished by whoever spots you first. As far as I know, nothing can one-shot you as long as you have a full shield, allowing some respite when you need to make an escape. There are many different gun types, from short range to long, shield breaking and not. Different ammo types are also more lethal against the bigger arcs. On most guns, the fire rates make you appreciate the pacing even more, as usually you have some time to react. The base level guns also don't seem to have a large magazine cap, so you really don't want to miss and be forced into a slow reload. I'll talk more about sound later, but fights are also enhanced by the incredible sound design. Shots, downs, breaching or extracting will make a lot of noise. This noise brings attention. Whether it's arcs or players, there will inevitably always be something coming to third party, and an extra reason to keep your head on a swivel in combat and out. Despite the combat feeling pretty good, I will admit damage feedback feels slightly inconsistent at times. There were often moments where we would both die after shooting each other, and it's unclear who hit what. I'm not sure if this is intended or if I just got unlucky. I know this is a divisive topic, but even with visuals for the different types of hits and a flare that burns when you get the knock, I still wouldn't mind some form of hit marker or indicator at range just to help with clarity. As a melee enjoyer, I'd also like the hammer to be buffed slightly, as the times I used it in combat took far too many hits for my liking to bring players down, and usually resulted in both of our deaths. Getting the drop on another player feels amazing, and the power swing when you take two leveled guns is noticeable, sometimes a bit too much maybe. Still, the moments where skill and luck collide are pure dopamine hits. The tension in every gunfight feels intentional, it's less chaotic and always pretty cinematic. Ark can be played either solo or a squad with a maximum of 3 people. Thankfully, if you're playing solo, the game will try to drop you into matches with other solo players instead of forcing you to play outnumbered. During the server slam, solo games felt busier than squad matches, which I did find quite odd as I expected it to be the opposite. Players seem friendlier in the solo games too, leading to the kind of interactions which made me fall in love with the game in the first place. In the Rust Belt, it's hard to trust people, but sometimes using the procs chat or don't shoot emotes can lead to some amazing moments. Like this guy helping me with a quest.
Oh, my quest is to destroy a thing using grenades. Oh yeah.
Thanks.
Alright, take it.
A few moments later.
Oh yeah, boy! Yeah, I don't know if we're still around and saw that, but cheers, dude.
Or times when we formed a group, looting, shooting, and making our way to the extract without any hostility. This won't always be the case, and there were a few times my supposed buddy turned on me. I should have known as soon as I found that big gun. But at least for me, the story and the tension is half the fun, and you never know how it's going to end. It's a cruel balance between fear and curiosity that only an extraction game can bring, and Ark does it right. Games run for around 30 minutes, but you don't always join from the start. Whenever I did, it felt like someone would shortly spawn right behind me almost every time. Could just be bad luck, or maybe a spawn system issue that the devs might need to address. In squad games, people were naturally less inclined to chat, but there is still the occasional banter from a downed enemy. I think duos probably have it the roughest at the moment, but it's definitely doable. If you're still watching, you might as well extract that like button while you're here.
Idiot.
Okay, that was poor. In regards to progression, not much was shown over the course of the weekend, and it was almost like Embark didn't want you to progress that far, which kind of makes sense considering the game comes out next week. There were only a few guns, and your workshop benches where you can upgrade weapons or craft items for missions were locked at level 1, so I'm excited to see what level 2 options bring and beyond. I imagine the loot that felt like junk will serve a much bigger purpose when full crafting capability is made available on release. Unlike the previous tech test, this time the dam was the only map available, but thankfully still had some interesting modifiers like the electromagnetic storms or the night runs, which were probably some of the most atmospheric runs I had. It was a fairly small map, featuring different zones of loot rarity, and I do think it would be cool if they swap these around from time to time, as it means less players congregate in the same spots. As I haven't really dipped my toe into extraction shooters before, the stash where you keep your loot was a bit of a mystery to me at first, and I did get a bit lost knowing what I needed to keep, recycle, or sell. As a fairly new player, I definitely experienced what they call gear fear, and I'm thankful that Arc Raiders has the option to take free loadouts, which let players experiment with random basic loadouts without risking it all. You are at a slight disadvantage doing this, as you could end up with something that limits you, but if you manage to make it out alive, you are able to trade your free loadout at the trader Lance, which is a nice reward. One thing they are missing is saved custom loadouts, as when I eventually moved on from the free stuff, it became a bit of a hassle to drag and drop every time. The ability to instantly set a saved preset if I have the items would be nice. If you don't want to craft and you have enough credits, you are able to buy other useful items from Lance and the other traders that Speranza has to offer. However, some of these items are time limited, so make sure to grab them before the shop rolls over. These traders can also give you quests which grant you XP and other useful gear to feel like you're progressing as the game goes on. This is really important to me, as like Battle Royales or other survival games, sometimes it can all feel quite pointless, but going topside with a mission provides clarity and makes sure you always have a goal to achieve once there. It's not always about the fighting. Back at base, you can also level up your skill tree, which looks interesting but slightly unclear. As you level up, you'll unlock skill points, which you can use to increase your stamina or make less noise while looting. The main problem is that you don't know how much of a difference these skills actually make, and I hope they add percentages in the future to know if it's actually worth picking a skill. I'm curious to see how higher levels will impact the balance down the line. I'm also not sure at the moment if respecking is available or if that will come with their version of prestiging. It's essentially like a self-wipe thing they're doing, but I'm not going to get into that system here. Check out the post on their website for more info on the wipes. The progression felt decent to me, and if they can continue to make it meaningful without turning it into a massive grind, I'm sure this system could really shine. I will admit that onboarding could use a little work. I managed to eventually work out the stash system, but some of the loot tooltips don't really explain what items do. For example, arc cells restore shields and fabric can bandage, but the game never tells you that it's anything but a crafting material. A bit more in-game guidance or tooltips would smooth the learning curve for us noobs out there. It's still satisfying to discover something accidentally, but also frustrating when you thought you had no way to heal. Aside from the actual game mechanics, the atmosphere is phenomenal. The sound design, weather effects, and general world building all go so hard. You could be scavenging around and all of a sudden you start hearing some mysterious beep boops, which could either mean death or new loot is nearby. Everything seems to have its own sound, and it really immerses you into the world. You learn to listen almost as much as you aim. The night missions especially stand out, tension, lighting, and sound all working together to create absolute magic. The only thing that doesn't fit the game are the janky 2D smoke grenade effects. The Arc enemy designs are solid and they each have a different gimmick, though I'm curious how much more variety there will be in the full release. The Arcs are actually trained using real machine learning, making every encounter unique and unpredictable. The threat of the looming drones and Rocketeer, the leap of the Bison, and the roll of the Roombas are just so slick, I'm not even going to try and string together a better sentence. Cosmetics also look awesome and are definitely cohesive with the game's art direction. I was worried about the full body aspect of the outfits, but you can still be unique with the modifications you add or the colors that you choose. Would it be weird to start to dress like this in real life? Despite Ark being an extraction game where you spend limited time in the maps, it feels more RPG-like than I would have thought. Not a bad thing necessarily, just different. You're questing, you're leveling up, you're getting gear, and then the stories slowly write themselves. One of the limited time events tells you that there's this queen protecting a harvester. On my very last run, I found this behemoth, snuck by and managed to make it inside. I thought it would just be loot, but instead it was like a puzzle I had to solve with sensors, chaos, and fire. Unfortunately, I didn't see what would happen if I completed it, as I tried to tank one of the blasts while healing and immediately regretted it. But what if on this solo run I had asked other players to help? It would have been like forming a party in any RPG and taking on the boss together. There is so much potential and I can't wait until the game releases so I can try it all over again. Maybe even fighting directly with the Queen next time. Performance-wise, despite my borked recordings, the game ran surprisingly well from the start. If anything, Embark has set a pretty high bar for how well a test build should run in 2025. I had no major bugs or stutters, just one unfortunate crash at the top of Control Tower. And even better than that, I didn't need to wait in a queue containing hundreds of thousands of people. Some people have also mentioned issues with lack of foliage, giving players advantage on lower settings, with things like bushes disappearing and revealing hidden players. Hopefully this is addressed before release, but I guess we'll see what happens. The only bug I did encounter was my friend getting stuck on a zipline, which was honestly more funny than frustrating, and he eventually came off, so our game wasn't ruined. It was very stable for a stress test, which definitely fills me with confidence for launch. Long term, if this actually is only 10% of the game, I can't wait to see the rest. I truly believe Ark Raiders could carve its own niche, sitting somewhere between Tarkov for casuals, PUBG, and perhaps Destiny. It's stylish, cinematic, and maybe most importantly, it feels new. Like I said earlier, it's the first game that's given me that early PC, heart racing, what the hell am I doing energy, and that says a lot. Especially from a guy who mainly makes melee-based content. Trust me, I'm starved for new. Ark Raiders still has yet to prove if it will have longevity, but if Embark managed to pull off their vision and keep this balance between cinematic chaos and grounded gameplay, I think we're looking at something special. Personally, I've already bought the deluxe edition. Let me know in the comments if you played the stress test, what you thought, and what your best moments were so far. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and dropping this video a like. It really helps support small creators like me. I hope to see you all topside when the game fully drops on October 30th, and if you see me, please. Until then, take care and keep mooking them dudes. No.